Greetings, everybody. Race Car here, and this is, of course, my review of the latest update for Gran Turismo, update 1.45, or the September update if you want to keep things short and simple. Obviously, the main headline stuff for this content includes the new rain conditions at Tokyo Expressway, as well as the four new cars, and there's some bits of features as well besides those. So let's delve into this thing. Now, kicking things off, we have obviously the wet conditions for Tokyo Expressway. Now, I do want to stress that these are not for all the configurations. These are only for, as the site itself says or specifies, the eastern outer loop and the east inner loop, as well as the central inner and outer loops. So, trying these out, I went for the central versions first, since this is one that's also been that was in the beta. And I don't know, I feel like there doesn't seem to be that much of a difference from the drive version. And I even had wet tires on, which might have been the wrong choice, as looking at it in hindsight, it seems more like intermediate weather than anything else. But I didn't really feel that much of a difference. For instance, I think if there was any slip with for instance, the BMW I was using around one of them, I feel that's more from the car and less from the conditions of the track. Because then I tried the Group 4 on the other, and it didn't really seem to make a difference. I may have gone a bit a little too slow there, but that's because, one, I haven't driven those configurations in quite some time. That's how often I avoid them. And two, I just never trusted or liked those tracks. That's just me. But I didn't feel much of a grip difference there. Now, as for the east outer loop and east inner loop, I definitely felt a difference there. Now, it might have helped that the cars I used had way more power than the cars I used for the other ones, but I definitely felt a difference there. Obviously, in one of them, I selected the exact configuration used, and of course, at the World Tour at the Red Bull Hangar 7, used the exact configuration and the exact car. And it reacted exactly like those cars did in that. So I would say, at least in that respect, it worked as advertised. Definitely feel like that's had less grip in there. And yeah, the match the car. And then I went to the other configuration and used one of the Group C cars. Of course, one of my favorite Group C cars, mostly because I love the brutality of it. And oh boy, yeah, you need to stay on your toes for that, because it will definitely catch you out if you don't. So for me, the standout are the east inner and outer loops in terms of the rain. Uh, it's a lot of fun. I can't believe I'm saying this about the Tokyo tracks that aren't the new ones they added last year, but I actually found these two configurations fun to drive on. Way more fun than if they were dry. And if anybody were to ask me to do a race with it, I would definitely be down for it. And it's got to be in a high horsepower car, because weirdly, it's kind of fun to be in slight danger of slapping the wall almost every lap. I have no idea why. Maybe I'm a masochist, but it's that sort of fun. And that wouldn't exactly be the only masochist fun I've had with this update. But of course, we'll cover that later. So now on to another feature that was added, which is, of course, Newscapes. And in these particular scapes, you can now photograph cars with raindrops on them, which is kind of cool for the photo mode obsessies. But I find it weird, though, that much like the low angle one, this has its own scapes section, as opposed to it being sort of like a feature. I don't know, it's a little weird. It's great. I'm not questioning how good it is. It's just a little odd that it has to have its own section too. But oh well, it does work really well. It does look really nice. So there's that. Another thing, and I think this was kind of heavily mentioned quite a bit, is of course the Michelin Partnership, which in this update, I will say right now, there's no new tire model. As far as I'm aware, the tire model wasn't announced for this update. It's supposed to be for a later one. It might be in October, it might be in November, but no new tire model. All it means is increased Michelin branding. So you got certain tracks. There's obviously a new section in Brand Central. There's also, I believe, some new decals in Livreator, which I don't know if that counts as undocumented change or if that counts as something that's part of this official update. But yeah, increased Michelin branding. And that also includes your setup thing, which now has the Michelin logo down and, reads, I believe, Tire Technology by Michelin or whatever. So basically just setting up all the branding stuff before the new tire model comes, I suppose, whenever that comes. Anyhow, there's that. And now, it's on to the other headline feature of this update, which is the cars. And we're going to start with the Ferrari Daytona, because I can't remember what the actual name is, so I'm just going to refer to it. But the car is a bit of a strange one, on the power, all the straightaway stuff, and its base settings. It's a funky one to handle in tight quarters and stuff, because it's weirdly somewhere, but it's both understeering and oversteering. It's a weird mix, and it kind of goes back and forth. It's not uncontrollable on either end, but it's weirdly unpredictable in which way it will go through those corners. So it's weird. I don't know if it's just my driving style. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong here, but as far as the car goes, on default setup and traction control off, and leaving the tires on as is, that's what I kind of got out of it. Now onto the 1970 Dodge Super B, and I pretty much know this is just a muscle car. It's not a car for the track. It is not a it's not the AAR Barracuda. So if you're expecting that, you're not finding it with this car. You're gonna find the slight understeering, slightly overpowering, definitely sort of lurchy. Stuff of the good old muscle car. That's what you're gonna get with this. So weirdly, that's kind of the strange enjoyment of it, is that it's not supposed to be doing corners like this, and yet trying to make it do those. There's a weird kind of charm to it. Some will be frustrated because it just doesn't grip and doesn't handle on rails. I just find it kind of a challenge and kind of a fun one. Speaking of challenges, the Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 1LE package. Yeah, that's a lot of name. But this car, absolutely fun. Now, despite having the traction control on, the thing still goes tail out and through the corners. And boy, does it throw down that 700 horsepower like crazy. But here's the weird part. Despite the weight, it does not feel all that heavy. There's definitely some of the most extreme weight shift I have ever felt in a car on this game. But it's actually weirdly fun to throw around. You do have to concentrate if you're going for like a full laser focused lap. But if you're out there just throwing laps and having fun, this thing, it's guaranteed to have you some fun. And it's not all that out of control, honestly. You have to intentionally be reckless with it just for it to kick back on you multiple times. And it's kind of fun when it does. So yeah, I think I might have found my second masochistic experience that I, for some reason, enjoy with this update. And then finally, and this is one that I was looking forward to as soon as I saw the silhouettes, the Corvette Stingray Concept Racer, or the XP87 for those of you that might remember. And what a fun car this is. It is amazing. It's not exactly on default gonna catch up with the 20 million cars. Don't even expect that. But it is amazing to throw around, amazingly great fun to drive, Weirdly, it kind of has somewhat of this. It's kind of has a strange feel about it, to where it is kind of laser focused on the track. Well, as long as you don't put it in the sand and go into a bit of a death wobble, which that's not really great. But handles kind of terrific. It's a good one to drive around. The sound is just magnificent, and it just, what can I say? And it's an amazing piece of history, because this is single-handedly the reason why we even started. Why there was even Corvette Stingrays to begin with. So nice to have that back. It's one of the cars I really enjoyed in Gran Turismo 6. So for me, I really enjoy having it in sport as well. Overall, I found this to be a pretty okay update. Nothing really groundbreaking or super spectacular. I did get two fun track configurations, neither of which I was expecting to have so much fun with. But apparently, you throw some rain down on it, and suddenly it's not the most intimidating place anymore. And that's saying something. And as far as the standout cars from this, like much of the tracks, for me, the two that stick out to me, well, are the Chevys. And the Camaro, because of just how weirdly it's heavy, but yet it doesn't feel like it. And then the Corvette, because, well, there's a little bias again from Gran Turismo 6. I love driving that, and it's even more fun on here. So a nice little update here. And obviously the Michelin Partnership, again, doesn't necessarily mean a new tire model in this update. Probably in either of the next two. That's at least my speculation on that, which I'll probably go into detail with on another video. But overall, kind of enjoyable update. You know, not a lot of people are going to be all that impressed by it, and I don't expect that. I mean, especially since there's no modern race cars for everybody to absolutely jerk themselves off to. But hey, it's an update for somebody like me who isn't expecting a whole lot. So that's very much my take on it. So that's it for this video. If you guys enjoyed that, please do leave a like. If you're new here, please feel free to subscribe. And don't forget to tick that bell icon so you are alerted on every new video I upload. So that's it for this time, and I will see you guys in the next video.